Hello Ironwood campers, my name is David Dumble. I'm the throws coach here at Oregon State University, and I've been asked by Coach Mack and the Hammer crew to be able to go through a few critical zones, things that I think are important in the hammer, some of the positions. So welcome to my hammer cage, and I want to go over some of these positions with you. As I go through some of these positions in hammer, really this is here to be a supplement to some of the stuff you've already learned. This is one of the different progressions that I teach. It may be new, it may be something new for you, it may click, or something that you don't really need yet. So I'll start with the most basic level of things that I teach with freshmen coming in that don't have any experience with hammer, some of the zones and positions that are important as they learn to go through these terms. So as I am facing away from the sector, I'm going to use this as my cue, as kind of like where a hammer would be. This is my PVC pipe, and we would call these different positions by their degrees. So this would be 0, into the direction of the throw is 180. I call this the catch position. This is when we put our foot back down, or 270. So we'll talk about 270, 0, and 90. Okay, so those are the three positions that we talk about the most. We talk about the catch, we talk about 0, making sure we can know where the low point is, and then we talk about 90. So we'll go through the progression chronologically. When we catch the hammer, we put our foot down, we're going to be at 270. This position is going to be really key, especially when we're on our left foot. All right, our weight's going to be on our left foot when we put our right foot down. The ball is going to be on its way back down from the high point, and we're going to be sitting back away from the ball. As we turn down, as we go through into 0 position, we'll be transitioning to the heel. We'll be sitting back or be moving back. That's why it's important that we're on our left foot when we catch at 270, is we're back moving on to the heel. The ball is going to have a low point that's going to be right around the 0 mark. Our head is back, our hips are bent. We don't want to be bent forward too much, because the more forward we bent, the more the ball we're going to over rotate, and we're going to be pulled forward to the back of the ring. So as we're transitioning from our toe to our heel, it's important that we feel our body weight moving into the direction of the throw, sitting back, and we know that the ball is going to then, as it moves around, move into the direction of the throw. After we talk about 0, we'll be talking about 90. Right? Once we get to this 90 position, we'll be 50-50, we'll be on our heel, we'll be on our toe, and we'll be able to feel and see the ball moving through 90. At this point, this is a very easy position to miss, because we're so worried about picking up and moving the ball. So during this phase, as we start to move the ball through here, this is a passive phase. We're not trying to accelerate the ball through this area. We're really just trying to stay aligned with it, keeping our knees, toes, and feet facing the same direction all the way from the catch through 0, through 90, and as we prepare for the step and into the position. Notice that those 3 positions are positions when we have feet on the ground, 2 feet on the ground. Having 2 feet on the ground, it's much better, much easier to be aware of our positions as a human. We have better awareness of balance and of where the ball is. It becomes very tricky when we start picking up our right foot and moving into the step position. We'll talk about that in a minute. After we've spent plenty of time working on our 3 phases of catch, or 270, 0, and 180, we'll start being able to make sure that we spend some time with the transition of the step, going into single support phase and moving back into the next catch. We'll spend lots of time being able to understand that we're not accelerating the ball at this point, and we're really trying to control our balance. If we can stay and turn with the pace of the ball, we're good, but we want to start working on making our way from our heel to flat-footed, with a whole foot down just momentarily, and then back onto the ball of the foot of the left foot. So we talk about stepping to the toe, stepping to the left toe. If you can feel your weight on that left toe, dropping that knee, bounce on the left toe, that then sets us up for the next catch. And when we hit that next catch and we're on our left foot, our balance is back on the left foot, we're in another great position for the next few phases from catch to 0 to 90 again. A couple important ideas as we're getting the beginners to learn how to hit our different positions as we turn through is feeling the centripetal force of the ball moving away from them, the hammer starting to push away from them, pull away from them, and for them to be able to counteract that with their body. And the way we know that we've countered is that we find ourselves in the center. Our head, our chest, our spine is being able to rotate around the saddle and not being pulled in any certain direction, whether it's forward, whether it's back, left or right. So we want to be able to feel the centripetal force pulling away from us as we then are aware of our different positions. Do I know when and where I'm at when my right foot lands at 270? Do I know when and where I'm at when the ball hits 0? Do I know when and where I'm at when the ball hits 90, and then having that awareness through our catch? When we start learning the hammer and start doing turns, we keep the orbit very flat. I don't want to have too much change when it comes to the orbit, and I just want the athlete to be aware of their certain positions. As you are more of an advanced hammer thrower, you've got lots of reps being able to do our turns and knowing the positions when our feet land 0 and 90, we start talking about knowing where the ball is and start talking about different phases of the ball, because in the end, where we are at doesn't really matter. It's matter that we are in the right position with the ball. The ball is always right. So if the ball is at 270, we need to be at 270. If the ball is 0, we need to be there at 0 with it. So as we have better perception of where the ball is, we can be in the right position at the right time. So from, again, we'll start from the catch position. We'll start talking not necessarily about the feet and the position of our body, but what's happening to the ball through these different phases. So at the catch position, I'll say that the turn begins. And at this moment, we will have good balance back on our left. We'll have good tension. The centripetal force will be pushing the ball out, and we'll start to feel ourselves start to create more tension as we're moving back to our heel, start feeling the ball coming down, and we start to do a little bit of a push. We start to keep that right side pushing down. It's very important that we don't lift up with that left shoulder. We want to keep that distance between our chest or our spine and the ball as long as possible. So as we're accelerating through this phase, we're feeling more tension. We're not trying to turn faster, we're trying to feel more tension as the ball gets heavier through the low point. After the ball goes through the low point through this phase, we are now no longer in the acceleration phase, but we're starting to let that ball continue on its path, pendulum or ricocheting through this low point. And as we're doing that, we're starting to get our body in preparation for the pickup and the catch. So we're going to keep everything, the right foot turning as we keep turning with the ball through 90, and then we let the ball stretch out into the direction of the throw. So the two main phases that we talk about with hammer when we're really focusing on the ball is the acceleration phase on its way down and through the low point, but then as we're guiding it back out and long, deep into the direction of 180 for a nice step forward on our catch. Once we catch, we'll go through those phases again. Once we start introducing the wind to our young throwers, there's a couple things that are very important when we are talking about the wind. Once we understand what this connection is like and this centripetal force of the ball pulling away from us, from our turns, that's something we want to feel through the low point of our winds. So that point is when we can keep our shoulders square with the direction of the ball and be able to stay with it. During the wind, that phase is really only a small segment right here, a little bit right of center. So as we're coming along with the wind with the low point, we bring the ball back up and we turn our shoulders back to connect to the ball again. And we're looking for that feeling of knowing where the ball is, connecting ourselves, putting ourselves in the right position at the right time through that low point. Once we can feel that connection, it's much easier to send the ball in for our first turn and to continue all the way through. So that's one of the most critical areas of the wind that we're looking for and really sets us up for some successful turns after that. Those are some of the critical phases of the throw that I'm teaching for my young throwers when they're learning hammer. Hopefully that resonated with you and you understand some of the key movements that I'm trying to teach. You may have already understood them before from other coaches, but sometimes saying a little differently is helpful. One nice thing about this camp is it's 8 weeks long. You have plenty of time in between each teaching phase to be able to go out and get some reps in, get comfortable with that right motion before you move on to the next. So take your time, ask plenty of questions so you're learning the drills correctly. I hope that some of the things that I gave you here are helpful and it helps you become a better hammer thrower. Good luck with your training.